Yeah, definitely, Asha, because the what you were saying now is like the feeling that whether some people kill it, let's say they fish for fun. I still don't get it to be honest. When people fish and release them and say fish don't hurt, it is kind of easy so much if you picture yourself being a fish and have a hook on your face, it's kind of easily to tell whether how should that feel pain or not, and something dragging you around with a hook. So that is actually even though they feel not shame, but they not even try to understand the feeling of others when their action is done upon the others. So if they're trying with that, it actually helps them to understand, oh, that could be very hurtful. And they live their life in the water. Normally, why should I be bothered? Or I go hunting in Africa. Oh, because I got the money. It was fun for me to shoot an elephant. And whether it's endangered or not endangered, but at least if I do this just for fun and it's cost someone's life, then if I love my life, then they would love it too. Suddenly I kind of disrupt the whole process of their lives. That something that on the broad common sense, if they are empathetic enough and not falling to being too egotistic, which is also kind of delusion. So that's why bad karma and good karma. I think for me, good. I think it's kind of good though that it doesn't justify to on how shameful you are towards the action. Just because it's bad and not feeling shameful about, it's still becoming bad karma because it doesn't. It depends on the intensity or the intensity of the intention when commit the deed itself. How much I want to kill it, how much I want to end their life, and then the purpose with the second one. Of course, purpose is for the living. There will be less. But when it's coming for enjoyment, for pleasure, for showing my egotistic feeling, that will be stronger too. So if you really feel bad to see those kind of things happening. So I got another question though, Asha. Then is there a correlationship between karma and the faith of the person? So this question is very, very related to. Actually, one of the questions people ask a lot is that whether life is by choice or is it predestined, which means is it something that has been set for me. And that is something when we understand the concept of karma, it helps us to understand whether life is about choice or predestined a lot easier too. So basically, life is both. It's the result of choice and predestined too. Which means, what does it mean by I'm saying that? The first one that whatever happened to you, let's say who you are today, is the result of everything that you do from the first day you were born until yesterday, right? How much you eat, how much you study, what kind of things that you say, talk with people. It will affect everything that happens with you today. And that means whatever is going to happen with you on the last day of your life will be the accumulation of every action that you will do from today until the final day, plus some of the action from the first day you are born until yesterday that still carry on its effects ongoing into the long future. So that would be the way to do the action. Then the past action that still has an effect in the future, it considered as something you call faith of a person because it's something that already set in motion and waiting to give an effect in the future. However, there also the second part that everything is still the result of choices. Everything that you do today can still have an effect and alter the course of predestined result that will happen in the future too. So that's why in the concept of in the Buddhist concept, the most important thing is to focus on the present action, because every present action that you do, even more or less, still creates the effect in the future. Even though we may have accumulated some of the negative sides of life before, it always means we have a chance to change, to redo it by investing more something on the present action too. So it will change the fate in the future. So this is the relation between the fate of the person and the part of the predestined and the part of the free will too. So I got another question is that if I watch something that is not good, like hot race, car race, or probably something more violence, I guess, is it considered as demerit or something negative karma by watching it and not actually killing someone? I think that is actually very interesting karma. Well, it wouldn't be exactly like negative karma, but it does clouded the mind. Because, the thing is that when the mind is involved with this kind of, killing section, using harsh speech or something that, even kind of sometimes may kind of stimulate us to feel satisfaction when someone is feeling in pain. So that will fall into the kind of karma of, kind of supporting karma for someone to do it, even though it's not really a karma towards a person, but it's actually clouded the mind. I mean, that the cloud of the mind, what happens is that it will kind of create negative energy that will draw other negative energy to show the effect faster. So, and your mind is also going to be involved with this kind of stuff. So it kind of replay of the movie in your mind. So you can choose not to do that, by looking at other stuff too. So I think it's a matter of choices, whether what kind of things you like. So imagine if you play a computer game that full a lot of killing scene and shooting people in the head all the time. When you go to sleep, what kind of image do you see? It's gonna be something nice or a person, with blood spatter. So think about it. And a person with blood spatter with a person with the action of pulling the trigger will be very clouded to the mind, right? And that is the starting of the mind, quality of your mind. So when you kind of watching all those stuff a lot, that's what you get as a state of the mind too. Okay, so sure, Anna. Mm, that depends. If you do something good on behalf of your deceased husband, then it will be something that would give positive energy to your husband. If you ask it that way, for example, like if I gotta be going to the orphanage and spending giving charity to the orphanage, to the hospital, saving the poor, going to the temple, anything, these kind of action that and then in memory, so that like dedicated to the deceased husband, then he will receive it if he knows how to congratulate or rejoice in the action. He will have the share of the energy that you have created. So that will be the way. It will not. It will be reached to him if he in the state that can receive. So that's another kind of catch too. I don't know if that's the question. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, the is actually the karma related to health issue. When basically things that related to taking lives, hurting lives of others will have the effects on our physical health, whether we're gonna be live long or live shorter, or to live healthy or not as healthy. It depends on this kind of action that we have done. If I, for example, I give food considered as giving strength and longevity, then we extend someone's life. Then on return, I get the benefits of life to me. But if I hurt somebody, wherever I hurt them, it's kind of come back to me. So that's just the way karma works in regard to health. So I know that sometimes when we look at karma, it's like, but my lifetime, I have not done anything like that. How come I still have this, not so good health? So imagine if you watch the movie and what you see right now is just one scene in the movie. And there's just the part of the movie, 1 hour before that, you don't know what's going on, but you just see what's happening right now. I just feel like this is not very fair that happened with me. But because past life is that part that we have not seen, all those scenes that we have not watched yet. So that's the way it goes with this life. As a result of that, at least it helps us to make a little bit kind of peace of mind to understand that at least there's certain kind of thing that happened with me because of my past, but I can still putting on something more today into to change the cause. Things like giving food, giving medicines, something that will relate to extending life of others. Will also give the direct benefits of supporting your own health in terms of the karmic relationship too. Yeah, then I like to add up a little bit on top of that. It's correct when you say that When you're giving food and, it's new dish that completely happen. Because if, Anna, you do it for yourself, but if you do it on your behalf of your husband and you tell him to acknowledge it as if he has done it with you, it will be his new deed regarding his health, because it's supporting giving food is kind of related to this kind of supporting health benefits. It may not help him to heal completely from his sickness in the present immediately, but in the karmic terms of karmic energy that we have accumulated, imagine if your bad karma is salt and your good karma is water. So if there's a lot of salt, to make the water salty if it's in the same glass, right? But if you keep adding more water in it, finally the salt will be diluted. The taste of the salt will be less salty over time. So each time you do it, but you have to make sure that your husband acknowledging it, that, yeah, I'm doing it for you, okay? It's your part to do it. And that way he will accumulate the positive energy for himself, which means adding up more water. It may help diluting the salt that he already have contained in his glass. But that depends on how much salt he has before. That's something that we don't know. So at least this is the part you can do by helping him to add more water by doing it on his behalf. So I think that is also my part to add a bit on top of that. You mean the action that is neutral, right? It's not good or bad. Is that it? Okay. The neutral action. Well, if it's neutral, then it doesn't cause any side. If it's not good, then it does not cause any good side of the result. If it's not bad, it doesn't cause any bad side of the result. But what you really waste is time. Don't forget that time is limited assets that the person got in the life. So for example, if I have 75 years of my life, I have not done anything good, although I have not done anything bad for 10 years straight up. I already waste 10 years that I can add up some, good stockpile on my positive ledger instead of, wasting all the time not doing anything at all. So imagine if you run your life, think of your life like a company. And if your company doesn't make any profit or loss at all, it's okay. It's not so bad. You may sound like, oh, I break even. But if your company keep going day by day like this for a long year, but then you're wasting your time and opportunity to make profit the whole time, and you're not going to gain anything. Eventually, there will be something that degrade, that you don't have enough fund to improve them. The building will be degrade, right? The cars, the structure will be degrade over time. So you are wasting the opportunity to upgrading it by having the profit to do it. Think of it like a business in terms of life. So neutral action, even though it does not cause any benefits or profits or loss, but it does take a lot of time of your life, which is very limited assets and important. We can use it for something more fruitful. So I think that would be one way to understand it. Okay, I think I got another question in the Zoom that I think should be kind of noted, should be answered. I think it's the, can I have the question again? I think the sharing the news. Well, I think the question is related to something about whether I support. Okay. Can lots of positive karma be good enough to alter the present lives that affect bad karma from past life or change our faith? That is actually the very similar question that people ask all the time. And as I explained the concept, that the first thing first, when you do any karma, it creates a karmic relation between two parties. The karmic relation, for example, if I hit you, you will hate me and you want to hit me back. Then we're going to be end up in this kind of relationship, of retaliation between each other. That's the first part. The second one, it creates the energy. Think of it like in electricity, it's creating a certain kind of energy, either a good one or the bad one. So the positive and negative energy that we created will be effects in the future. It's like, it turns to be light, turns to be sound. So as I explained before, if you think of negative energy as salt and positive energy as water, and you mix a spoon of salt into a glass of water, the water will be very salty. But if you, add more water until your container get bigger as well, then the taste of salt will be less and less over time. So that's the same thing too. But the hard part is that I don't know that in my past life, how much salt I have been putting. I could have been putting a sack of salt. I have only one glass of water right now. That's the hard part that we don't know about. And that's the tricky one. Most important, that is kind of reason why we emphasize so much on try as much as you can to accumulate more water in your life, since we don't know how much salt we have contained before. But what we can do and what we know right now is that I can't always add water. And that's actually what really the main understanding and most important part when we talk about the present moment, being in the present moment. Because when we are able to be in the present moment, when this aspect to put in a lot more water, we focus more on water, then it's going to help us to dilute it anyway, even more or less. Okay, I have a sack of salt in my life that I have putting one bottle. It may not change much, but at least it started to, right? And if we keep doing it, finally it will be more enough water to dilute the taste of the salt. So that is something that we can focus on. Okay, explain the causal relationship between karma and rebirth. Now, the karma and rebirth are very, very very related. I like you to think of a life. If your life is a company, think about it that way. Okay, when you start up a company, it depends on how much capital you got for the starting, right? Whether you have let's say $1 million budget to start up your business, or if your company is starting from the scratch, like I have only $100 to start with, it will be different. So whatever your past karma that you have done in many lifetimes, it will be your starting fund for this life business. Now it depends on how you utilize that fund to create more profit or loss. So if you end up, let's say you started with $1 million, but then you end up using that to accumulate more profit of good deeds, good action, good energy, positive energy, until you pass from this life with $100 million, $1 billion, then you make a lot profit, right? And next life, when you start new life, you start a new business with $1 billion starting fund. That will be the way to understand it. But if, I come to this life with $1 million in my budget, but then I pass on this life with only $10 left behind, then next life I'm starting up with 10. The sad part is that sometimes I come with not so much already, but I go from this life with a lot of minus. Imagine what it's going to be like. Meaning next lifetime, I'm going to have to make it harder. And one more important thing to understand is also not just the karma as an action that we do, because every action that we do repeatedly will become our habit. Habitual karma is one of the strongest karma, and it kind of programs our mind to do the same thing again in the future lives. So if I corrupt my life, from $100 million into $10, it means I already accumulate a lot of bad habit in this life to be kind of not so nice guy, right? So imagine if I'm going to be born next life with just $10 as a starting fund, with the same habit of ruining my life from 1 million to 10. What is going to be life to start a life like that? So think about it that way. And that's just the reason why each time that we do something, if we kind of do repeatedly and kind of recollecting the action, is create a new program for our mind, or the other was new habit. And with better new habit, it helps us to also kind of do this thing easier. Don't you think it's kind of nice thing to just, feeling pleasant easily than other people? Or feeling easier to be generous, kind of very kind of common, very common sense to be generous, to be kind, to be compassionate, to be forgiving. It's something that we kind of have to develop to be our habit. But once we are able to do that, it's kind of something automatically. So every second, you don't even have to put a lot of effort to do good deeds. It's just come naturally to you.
All right. Wow. So how have you guys been doing? How was your meditation? How was your meditation? Was it okay for meditation? All right. So before we say goodbye today, I actually have just very easy um, and really good announcements for all of you. I think you will really gain benefit from this. So let me share it just a little bit. Okay. All right. So if you like the meditation that you just experienced with Lumpy Pasura, he is actually have the course called From Zero to Finding Peace. This is very easy and practical meditation course that can help you. If you're a newbie, this course will help you to learn and be able to get that instant peace of mind every day within just 7 days. And then, but if you have been practicing meditation for a long time, this course will help you to make more progress in meditation very easily.